So what's the next thing that you think we need to do in the project? We come in to play the game, select number of players. We can select any number of players. And what happens, we create a deck of cards. We deal out the cards to the players. We get a message that the cards are dealt, and we don't see any of the cards. So we actually want to see the cards that have been dealt. And that's the next thing that we need to do when we start the game and we've got our start game function. We need to make the cards. So we started the game, and next we need to make the cards, and this is going to make the cards visible. You can also do that at the start the game as well. So either one, you could, where we're dealing the cards, and once we've dealt the cards, we can make the cards at that point. So maybe that's a better option. So once we finish dealing the cards, let's go ahead and make the cards. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to create a function in order to handle that. And this is going to be visual, making the cards visually. So let's create another function in order to handle the making of the cards. So we've got all of the players set up, and we've got everything in place that we can show the cards visually to the player. So we're going to create a loop, and creating just a basic for loop. We're going to loop through while x is the length of players. So remember, players is that array object where we've got all of the different player information, and this also corresponds to the elements that we have on the page. So we can really easily go through and we can update the element content. So this corresponds to the number of players that we have and the number of elements that we have on the page. And also corresponding to our console log, so we've got our player, but we also have a value for deals. And this is going to be essentially the player's hand. So you see that we've got all of the different deals that we have. So the first player here, we can grab the first card from them. The next one, we can grab the next card, and so on. So that's what's being output in deals. And we want to grab that first card and the card that we can grab. So we're going to pull that out of their deals array. So creating another variable, we can call it let card. And this is where we're getting the deals. And in order to get the first item, remove the first element from an array, we do shift. And what's going to get returned back within the console is going to be that first card. And then it's going to reduce the size of those arrays. So see, now the arrays are down to 17, 16, and 16, and that's because we've drawn out that first card. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to show that card. We want to make that card and show it. And we also want to place the card into a holder so that we know which cards have been played. So let's create a variable, and this is just going to be, right now, it's when we come in to make the cards, it's going to be a blank array. And then as we create the cards, we're going to add them into the temp holder so we can push them in there so we can always access them. And we know which card has been played and which cards are currently in place within the temp holder. And this is sitting outside so we can loop through and we can see which cards have been played by the players as we iterate through there and as we push it into our temp holder. So this is going to give us the listing of essentially the cards that have been played. And the next thing that we want to do is we want to show the card. So we want to pass in and select the player that we want to show the card in. So this is, again, contained within that player's object. We have the element that we want to show the card within. And then the card that we want to show, we're also passing that into the function. We also need to create a function in order to handle that. And this is the show card function. So it's going to take two parameters that are coming in for the show card. So the first parameter is the element that we want to show the card in, and the second parameter is actually the card and the card information. So coming into the console log, we can output that card value as well as the element. I'll get rid of the console messages here, and I think that that should get rid of some of the console messages. So now the only console message is coming when we show card. So we want to show the queen of diamonds for the first element for player 1, the 8 of spades for player 2, and the 9 of hearts for player 3. So we need to show that card for the player. So we also want to make sure that the card is not equal to undefined. And if it is undefined, then we might have some issues. So make sure that it's not equal to undefined. so that we do have a card object there, and that means that we can create the element. So let's select that element and apply a style. We can apply a background color, and I always want to make sure the background color is white. So let's set that by default to white. And this is the element, remember the one that we passed in and where we want to build the card. So now let's build the card. And this is where we need to create a few different elements. So taking our HTML1 object, we can take the card rank, because this is an object, so we can get the rank value out of it and add that into our HTML object that we're building. And then also we can use ASC characters for the cards using the card suit. So this is a really neat trick, because when we use the suit, and the suits were written in a format that they could handle the ASC characters, so if we've put the ampersand and diamonds and the colon beside it, then what you're going to get as the output is you're going to get a visual of that rank of the card suit. Let's create another HTML element, so we'll call this one HTML2. And this can take in some additional information, so it can take in the card rank. And this is basically, we're just designing the card the way that we want it to look. So it will have the rank and the suit. So next, let's build the card and creating an element. So the div and document, create element. And the element that we're creating is going to be a div. And I can console log out the div before we output it into our visual area. And to the div, let's do class list and add a class. So we need to make a class for the card so that we can style it properly. So we'll do that afterwards, after we create the element. And using document, create element. We're going to have to also do quite a bit of visual styling to represent the cards as well. So this span 1 will have text content, or let's set inner HTML, as we used HTML there, of whatever is equal to HTML2. And then we're using that div that we've created, and we're appending the child to that, and the child that we're appending is the span 1. And so also let's create another span, and of course we're going to have to do a little bit of styling for this. So creating another span, and this one can take the contents of HTML1, or we could have just copied it down there. So this gives us a way to kind of duplicate it easily. And we're appending the span 2 child to that div as well. So let's see what that div looks like. So now we've got a div, we've got a card. You see there's that ASC character of diamonds. This is the ASC character of spades. And then you see that we've got the 7 of spades being represented there. So next thing that we want to do is we actually want to append it to the element. And that's why this was really nice, that we were able to really easily select that element. So we can take the element and we can append a child, and the child that we're appending is that newly created div. So let's try that and refresh it and hit start. And you can see that our player 1 has a king of diamonds, player 2 has a 7 of spades, player 3 has an 8 of spades, and this also corresponds to the content that's down there. So I did say that there is quite a bit of styling still to do. So the objective really here was just to output that content, and now we're going to style it and make it look a little bit better. And that was really why I also want to create the 2 spans, so that we have an option to create 2 classes where we can have the first visual kind of smaller, and then the second one fairly large with the suit, the rank in the suit being presented. So go ahead and add this into your project and have the ability to show the card when we start the game and we deal the cards, and then next we make the cards. And as we loop through all the players, all we need to do is pass in the player element that we want to add the card to, and then also pass in the card object information, and that will output that object into the player's visual area.